One of the key rules of the road, be respectful. But that's not entirely the case in London right now, where one taxi association chief has labelled all cyclists as loonies and even compared them to Islamic State militants. RT's Anastasia Cherkina now clears up the story.
Bicycles versus taxis, the battle is on. Here in London, the head of the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association is comparing cyclists to none other than Islamist terror group ISIS.
I did refer to as loonies because they are loonies.
Steve McNamara says cycling lobby groups have been all over him like a cheap suit for that comparison. But he's adamant that cyclists acting recklessly on the roads are a major cause of accidents in the capital.
They span from the very reasonable, intelligent and sort of people you don't have a drink and dinner with, to the absolutely raving, barking mad loonies.
Unsurprisingly, the name-calling hasn't gone down well with the city's vast community of bike riders.
These kind of ridiculous comments, it doesn't really help the the conversation.
I think that the guy speaking for the LTDA has just got a bit carried away with himself, really.
That cyclists are like ISIS, yes. Okay, first of all, I don't think that's a very accurate comparison at all.
According to Transport for London, this year's breaking all records for the number of those pedaling around the British capital.
Black taxis have been a traditional symbol of London for decades, but it's the bikes that are taking over the city by storm that are a new trend, with the number of docking stations and rentable bikes skyrocketing at over 10,000. Quite popular, even on rainy days like this.
Do you think there's actually a war going on between cyclists?
No war? No, war's a strong word. No, just an annoyance, I would have thought.
This Londoner, who has cycled in the city for decades, says he's had countless altercations with taxi drivers.
I think a majority of cyclists hate taxi drivers in the city, yes. I certainly do. They cut you up for one. They drive around roundabouts at reckless speeds, and the other thing is the pollution. And there's so many of them as well.
To cyclists like him, it's the taxi drivers who are the terrorists on the road.
I think it's ridiculous to call cyclists ISIS. I think taxi drivers are bordering on ISIS.
And the merry-go-round of an urban war of words keeps on turning. Anastasia Cherkina, RT, London.